The Ohio State Buckeyes, they are straight up rolling right now. And this is really intriguing because over the past couple of weeks, there are two teams that we've really had to pay attention to that are heating up on the recruiting trail: the Michigan Wolverines and the Ohio State Buckeyes. But before we dive into it, please go ahead and hit that like and the subscribe button. Let me know what you all are thinking down in the comments below. Which school will finish higher on the recruiting trail this year? Michigan or Ohio State? So, the Ohio State Buckeyes, this is where we're going to start this video today. They've already got the number one wide receiver in the country and the number 2 overall player in the country in 2024 in Jeremiah Smith. But they just landed 2 commits, one this weekend and one just now, and they have a crystal ball for a quarterback. The first one is the running back, James People, top 70 player in the country, 5'10", 192-pound running back, a guy that was looking at Alabama, Oklahoma. Actually, I had him going to Oklahoma after he officially visited OU, where, well, he has his official visit except for Oklahoma. But he's a running back that was incredible. 191 attempts, 1,904 rushing yards, and 28 rushing touchdowns. James Peoples is a guy that is going to make an impact at the running back position for whatever team he ends up with. And hey, the Ohio State Buckeyes, they land his commitment. But that wasn't even the biggest commitment that the Ohio State Buckeyes have gotten in the past couple days, because they just got a commitment from another 5-star wide receiver in Mylan Graham. So if you all aren't familiar with this one, well, Mylan Graham, a 6'1", 170-pound wide receiver, the 27th ranked player in the country out of New Haven, Indiana, picked Ohio State over. Well, can we kind of put it out there with the usual? Florida, Alabama, Miami, Michigan, Tennessee. However, if you're the Ohio State Buckeyes, you really got to try to hold on to these wide receivers. And although Brian Hartline is a great recruiter, and that is something that Mylan Graham made sure to mention. He made sure to mention how good a recruiter Brian Hartline is. Hey, Jadyn Davis and Michigan are coming for some of these guys. They're not safe. They might stay with the class, but nothing's guaranteed at this point. It's not safe. In the 2 years that Mylan Graham was a starter, 67 receptions, 1,426 receiving yards, 15 receiving touchdowns. Yeah. Mylan Graham, he that dude. He is that dude. But the Ohio State Buckeyes are still searching for that quarterback since the decommitment of Dylan Raiola. Well, who could the Ohio State Buckeyes possibly be looking at the quarterback position after you lose the number 1 overall player in the country? Well, could be a guy by the name of Aaron Noland out of Fairburn, Georgia, who is about to announce his commitment on April 8th. The number 84 ranked player in the country, the number 8 quarterback in this class, a guy that I think some people think, okay, maybe Clemson's a player, maybe Arkansas is a player, definitely Oregon, Miami. But Corey Dennis, and I'm sure Brian Hartline or Ryan Day have a hand in this recruitment as well. Aaron Noland, currently crystal ball predicted to end up at the Ohio State Buckeyes. A guy that, well, even though he's measuring in at 6'2", 190 pounds, he's got a quick release. He's able to escape the pocket. He is a winner, leading his team to a 15-0 record and a state title, runs track. So obviously the kid is athletic And looking at him statistically, 718 attempts, 487 completions, 8,000 yards, 104 passing touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 92 rushing attempts, 233 rushing yards, and 6 rushing touchdowns. Sorry, that was a lot. I had to take a breath there for a second. But if you're the Ohio State Buckeyes and you're an Ohio State Buckeye fan, you're not, I think, too worried about landing, a top-tier quarterback in this class because, well, you got Tristan Gabia out of the transfer portal from Oregon State. But then in the 2023 class, you go out there and land a guy that I think personally, because he's playing in South Dakota, he was very underrated. But a guy that I think was a home run hit for Ohio State or any team that wanted him, and that was Lincoln Kineholes. Do you guys know that name? Did you guys really pay attention there? Number 189th ranked player in that 2023 class. Have you guys seen his stats? 851 attempts, 504 completions, 8,944 yards, 103 passing touchdowns, 28 interceptions. 16 of those came in 2020. 3,264 rushing yards, 40 rushing touchdowns, 269 rushing attempts. Yeah, that guy. Ohio State's going to do just fine, whether they get Erlen Noland or not. But everything's pointing to the fact that the Ohio State Buckeyes are tearing it up on the recruiting trail, and they're going to continue to tear it up. Well, because if you didn't pay attention to what they did in 2023 on the recruiting trail, they got only Brandon Ennis, a 5-star wide receiver, Noah Rogers, a 4-star number 53 overall player in the country, wide receiver. You had Carnell Tate from IMG Academy, the number 59th overall player, 4-star wide receiver. You guys catching the drift here? Brian Hartline is elite. And no one's slowing him down. But the Ohio State Buckeyes are currently only number 5 in this class with 7 commits. They're behind their arch rivals, the Michigan Wolverines, who have 10 commits in this class. And, hey, they're gaining a lot of momentum. And they're about to gain a commitment from a 4-star offensive lineman, Andrew Sprague. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there because it ain't no secret. Who is an offensive lineman who I think was wanted by a lot of teams across the country, including my Oklahoma Sooners. But they just got a commitment from the 5-star quarterback, number 28 overall player in the country, Jadyn Davis, out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and Providence Day School. Jadyn Davis, a guy that was recruited again by Clemson, Brandon Streeter, Alabama, Auburn, a guy that is able to operate outside of the pocket, has a clean throwing motion, telling you that he's got good mechanics, and he's explosive, right? And then the kid's extremely athletic. So the Michigan Wolverines landing a 5-star quarterback in this class after they lost out on Dante Moore last class. This was much needed on their part. And Ohio and the Michigan Wolverine fans, they've got a lot to be excited about because, well, outside of Jadyn Davis, they go out there and get a guy like Jordan Marshall, the 4-star running back from Cincinnati, Ohio, who you won over Brian Hartline and Tony Alford at Ohio State. So if you notice, Michigan and Ohio State, they're kind of in the same battles with each other. They're vying after the same recruits. Now, it is important. Jordan Marshall does have an official visit currently set with Ohio State for June 23rd. He also has some set with Wisconsin, Tennessee, and then, of course, he's got his set with Michigan as well. So we'll have to see if this commitment actually sticks or if maybe the Ohio State Buckeyes can come in and swing a flip. But Jim Harbaugh and this staff, they do what they do well. They're recruiting in the trenches, and they're recruiting really well. Luke Hamilton, a 4-star offensive lineman. Ted Hammond, a 4-star defensive lineman. Ben Roebuck, a 3-star offensive tackle. I mean, you look up and down the board. Yeah. They're making a splash. And then they're about to go out there and land the 4-star offensive lineman, Andrew Sprague, who I think he's just talented. I think he's just good. A lot of teams are going to want this kid. But ultimately, it looks like the Michigan Wolverines are about to earn his commitment. Unfortunately, because I wanted him to beat Oklahoma. But we can't win everybody. Just like the Ohio State Buckeyes can't win everybody. But they definitely are going to put up impressive recruiting classes. So, guys, if you haven't already, please go ahead and jump down in the comments below. Let me know what you all think. What team do you think is going to finish higher over the other? Ohio State or Michigan? Additionally, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of the college football content that we are bringing.